Welcome to June, mother truckers, and I am ready for action. And by action, I mean eating broccoli.
Because what else would you mean? Well, I just bought a pant stretcher, Sarah. What have you bought lately?
Well, Heather, glad you asked. I bought some Tide laundry detergent from the corner store because I needed a bridge before my next Amazon order, and it was like twice the price. Fool me once.
Womp. Some people think middle age is boring, but you should see my new bird feeder. It is so awesome.
Burr, burr. Have such a good day.
Hello, world. Welcome to Have Such a Good Day. The show that wants you to do
just that.
Episode 241.
Woo! What up, world?
Wiping the
are we
sweat off my
prime
brow.
number territory or what?
We are. I didn't see any intriguing symbolism with this number, but I did look at the clock today at exactly 11:11. That always excites me or freaks me out depending on the day.
Isn't that weird how I know that 11 I know somebody who got engaged at 11:11 p.m.
On purpose?
and I mean that's what
That was the point.
They're actually now divorced,
Oh, great.
Spoiler alert, but but when they got engaged, it was a special time for them, so it was very important that they got engaged at that moment.
Interesting.
Kind of thing. But I'm always and I do that sometimes too, where I look at the clock and I'm like, 11:11. Yeah, I know people who really care about this moment in time, but I'm like, why not 10:10?
Well, you know why? Because I think it's 4 of the same number. I don't think you can't get. Okay, so you can't get 2222.
Yeah. I mean, 11:11 truly is the best palindrome.
It is. It's kind of
so
the best.
what's my problem?
It looks cool
But,
too,
yeah.
and I think that's part of it. But all
looks
that being
cool.
said,
Yeah.
welcome to the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment. Big talk, small talk, all the talks in between. And I'd like to know how everyone's doing out there today.
Yeah. What's going on? What's going on, fam? We want to know.
We do.
Because Heather and I are, we're here. We're with you. We're interested, and
we're ready to unpack
we are ready.
the
to
joyous
unpack.
moments and the cruel ironies that have happened thus far this week. Sarah, I mean, I would assume you've had a few doozies. I mean, we're only Tuesday deep, but sometimes Monday the biggest doozies happen. And if they don't, they happen on Tuesday. So how's your week been going so far?
Well, week's been okay. I was telling Heather before we started the show, while we were doing our morning New York Times games, which we do literally every day of our lives. And I was like, my dreams have been kind of crazy. And again, I always say this. Nobody cares about anyone else's dream unless it's very, very specific to them. Mm-hmm. And I've just had a cacophony of dreams that are just so weird. I mean, I'm really I feel like I'm getting into lucid dreaming. Mm-hmm. Lucid dreaming meaning that you are able to know that you're in a dream while you're in it, and kind of just do whatever you want because it's a dream. It's not real, like the movie Inception. But I get halfway there. And then I, for example, I would look at you, Heather, next to me and be like, I had the weirdest dream. Let me tell you about it. And you'd listen and go, oh yeah, that's a crazy dream. But I'm still in the dream because I'm not with you.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I definitely have bouts of that. Probably at least a couple times a month. I really should write stuff down in the morning because that, right away I'm like, oh, weird dreams, just the weirdest. And then I start my day, it leaves my mind and I can't really remember the details.
Oh yeah.
So I can't really
the
describe
details.
it.
Yeah. They're so vivid at first. You either write them down or you say them, in some sort of an audio journal, or they go. And later, I've even been with somebody, in the evening and been like, oh my God, you were in my dream. And then I'm like, and I can't.
And you're like, well, what
remember.
happened? You're like, I have no idea.
And I'm like, oh, that's like such a bad story, but it was like such a good story at 7 a.m.
You know, speaking of dreams, I actually just found, I was cleaning out some drawers in our art studio that I haven't looked in for a while. And I found this really old, tattered book that I used to write my dreams in, like, I think like starting back in college. So this is a very, very old book. The cover is that Edward Munch Scream piece of art, you know? And it's all it is like a dream journal. And I'm kind of scared to open it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to read these. These are like really like old
It's your own journal
dreams.
and you're afraid to read it?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
I mean, I get it. Because you know, so much of it is going to be either nonsensical or like
Stupid.
something that like was very, very valuable to you at the time that isn't anymore.
Yeah, or maybe it's
I don't know.
triggering. I don't know. I mean, I had a series of like
there's that.
reoccurring dreams when I was like a teenager, like maybe a little younger, about my sister sort of, she'd transform into different things in every dream. Like she'd be chasing me or like trying to kill me, you know, and I'm like running through like backyards, like trying to escape her. She's like a crazy whale. And then she's some other weird creature. And you know, I'm not joking. That's what I think is in this book, is these reoccurring dreams of my sister like taunting me.
Oh.
Have I told her about it? Yes, I have. And she has apologized profusely. She's not going to be listening, so we can talk
She
about
didn't do this in real life, though. This was
No,
in
but
your
but
dream.
she taunted me in real life. I mean, she was
so it
difficult.
manifested in
It manifested
very,
yeah.
like a sort of superlative ways.
I was just a very happy-go-lucky kid, and she just sort of like she sort of she just did things that were not very nice, and she'd be so bummed if I was talking about this right now, because she is a very loving sister now, and she has apologized profusely. So, you know, water under the bridge, or under the, I don't know, the dream bridge.
You know, as somebody who does not have a sibling, I don't really know how that works. But both my mother and my father had siblings. My mother had one brother. Mm-hmm. My dad had 4 siblings, you know, and everyone, well, not everyone is alive anymore, but from those who still are, you still, you know, they will still, these are people in their 70s, you know, and they'll still be like, I remember when Susie stole my underpants, you know, and I couldn't go to school on time. You know, it's like people really like keep things with them.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm
About
not a
that kind of
grudge
stuff.
holder. I definitely, I don't know what that says about me, if that's good or bad, but she really is. And I mean, she used to steal my bathing suits and my clothes. And then she'd lie about it. Like she would, but then I'd go into her room and she was gone. I'd find it like all dirty under a pile of dirty clothing, like in her closet. And yeah, I mean, just that kind of thing. Nothing like scary or, violent. It was just more like, you know, she just pissed me off on a daily level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like,
Of
I mean, I
course.
don't, people go through puberty and they have, I love how my one of my cats loves to like cuddle right when we start recording. It's like he's been sleeping for the last 4 hours, and then all of a sudden
he hears your voice,
Yeah,
and he's
you're
like,
right.
I'm kind of a star, so you know.
He is
I want to
kind
get up
of.
in there. Well, so you know, dreams aside, Heather, please tell me more about the pant stretcher, because I don't even know what that is.
Oh God, it's so embarrassing. No, it actually isn't. Yeah, so the pants stretcher. Well, okay, denim, like jeans specifically. And look, I don't think anyone would even notice that I've like, my body has changed at all. It's more like myself that notices it. And I think my body has changed a little bit. And so these, size 24 super tight jeans that I've had for years that are my favorite jeans are just, I can put them on, but they're just a little uncomfortable. And I don't
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
24 is small for me. So I mean,
I
those are
think it's
tight
too
jeans.
small for me. I agree. And so I'm more of a 25, 26, depending on the day. And so someone was telling me about, oh, you could actually stretch them. There's these amazing, like they're just, all it is really is like two pieces of wood with like a spring thing, and then you can kind of adjust it. And you just sort of, you dip your jeans in water. I think it's like hot water. So the top part. And then you put the stretcher in there and you let it sit for like 24 hours. I don't even know if it's going to work, honestly. But I just thought it was a fun, weird, random
so
thing
the
to
whole
try
idea
out.
is like to stretch the waist.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly. Because
that's
I
the-
just need
yeah.
a little more breathing room, and just a
Yeah.
skosh, like maybe like half a centimeter would help a lot, or
Yeah.
a centimeter. But apparently these things can stretch items up to an inch. So yeah, I just thought it'd be a good cold open.
You know what? I mean,
I'll report back.
all all kidding aside, I mean, I actually, I don't know that the waist is my biggest problem, but like my hips have, they've gotten a little
that's it.
gotten a little chunky.
Yeah.
A little chunky. I'm just, I don't know, still trying to get back into that health mode that I said that I would do it January 1st, et cetera,
It's
of
hard.
course. But yeah, I was going to, not even like it wasn't like a fancy thing. It was just like, I like had showered and was going to, just put on some clothes to go meet some friends and do something.
Yeah.
And I have like, as we've talked about, like a million pairs of jeans. Not all the jeans were like appropriate for, like some of them are like, oh, you have to wear high heels with them. I was like, no,
course.
not even doing any of that. But just like, like jeans, cute top, some boots, we're
Yep.
good to go. And I couldn't fit into any of my jeans.
Yeah, same. Yep.
I was like, I can do it. But like, I know that once I sit down, I'm going to be so uncomfortable.
Totally.
And just like the whole time want to like unbutton my jeans like in
Yes.
public. Like, no.
Yeah, no. Well, also it's like some of my favorite jeans. I probably should have gotten a 25, but I was pushing it thinking they were going to stretch, so I got a 24. It was dumb. I should have gotten a 25. I would have been fine. But they're my favorite jeans, and I'm like, I am not throwing these away. Like, I want to make this work. So it's more of an experiment, really. And so
We're
what I'll
going to
do
make
is,
this work. Yeah.
if it doesn't work for me, well, no matter what, I'll bring it down for you, and you could try it, or you can borrow it, or whatever. I'll send it to you. But it could be a revelation. I mean, I don't know. Like people, the reviews that I was reading online, I didn't even think it was a thing. I mean, I knew that you could stretch shoes. I think I had originally Googled stretching, the waistband of your denim, and I came across a lot of articles about why yes you can. It's just like stretching shoes. It's sort of the same mechanism. So
I mean, it
sometimes
makes sense.
It does. It
Yeah,
does. 'Cause
as long as
denim
you don't
is-
like go overboard and rip anything, it does make
Exactly.
sense.
It's worth the risk though for me, because like either that or I'm probably going to have to like get rid of them.
Yeah, I know. I thought that same thing the other day because I was like, do I just like not fit in any of my clothes anymore? I mean, all of my jeans, like just I can't fit in them.
I know it kind of sucks.
Like
'cause what if you lose the weight?
there's one, it's sort of like you have the crowd of people who are like, oh well, I mean, if that were me, I would just like go to the gym, just like get real serious about eating more broccoli, and you're good to go, which is always how it's been with me. Even if I'm
Yeah,
like,
same.
I'm a little off, like, just eat some more vegetables and
Totally.
run around a little bit more, you're good to go. Or do I say, it's time, Sarah. It's time for me to get a size up.
Yeah, I know. I really think it's pretty normal of just aging and your body changing. But so I think waiting on that a little bit just to see what happens.
Yeah.
Or get yourself a stretcher. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of like in between that decision. I'm like, do I get rid of
probably
them?
need that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean, you might be
the
surprised.
bridge.
The bridge, exactly. And I put a lot of stuff on Poshmark. I don't do a lot of. I mean, I've occasionally bought on Poshmark. That's kind of my favorite site to buy from if I'm going to buy used. I'm not sure why. That's just the one I go to. I'm kind of afraid of eBay. Like, it kind of intimidates me for some reason. And yeah, and I decided, and I have over the years posted things. I've sold a few things here and there over the years. But I just recently, actually, because I've had like a little bit of some of the business stuff has been quieter this last week. So I've had this sort of laundry list of deeper projects that I don't have time to do, and that's Poshmarking. I have so many shoes. I mean, I have more shoes than I have jeans, which is kind of shocking. I'm the girl who lives in her shoes. And
you have good shoes.
I have good shoes, and there's just so many pairs that I'm like, I don't wear these. I'm not going to wear these. They're too high. Like, they're high heels. I only go to a wedding or two a year, maybe. You know, do I even wear these? I don't know. So I spent a few hours last week. Thankfully, my boyfriend's a photographer, and he hurt his foot, so he wanted something to do with his camera. So he was like, let me help you photograph
I love
these things.
how you're like, you know, he wouldn't have wanted to do this, but then he was injured and had
he was
nothing
bored.
else to do.
Yeah. Well, he would have done it to help me if I asked him,
Of course,
for sure.
but
see,
yeah,
I've been talking about doing this for like 5 years. It's been on that deep to-do list, and I just never want to do it because it's kind of tedious. And
Oh
having
my
him
God,
help me
so tedious.
was amazing, because I mean, I posted like 10 shoes. I mean, we took photographs of over 12 pairs of shoes. And anyway, my point is that, yeah, it's been kind of a nice couple weeks, because usually toward the end of the month, the business slows down a little. We don't have as much like maintenance happening. I mean, I'm going to knock on wood, because we had so much maintenance. We were drowning for a while, and I don't want that to happen again. But I've been taking advantage of some of these projects that I've put on the back burner. And I've been smelling the roses literally every day. I go out around between 4 and 5 because you got to prune them. So I kind of go out with my scissors. I've been pruning. And literally, I'm not metaphorically smelling the roses. We actually have a lot of roses here that my dad planted. Probably at least a dozen, if not 2 dozen, every single color. I mean, I'm telling you, it's exploded out there. And that's been awesome, because smelling the roses as a metaphor, it really makes sense, because when you actually smell roses for reals, it feels like you're really seizing the day and like enjoying things. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's been cool. And I've been catching up on like Duolingo and stuff like that. I really want to, you know, it's hard to keep up with that, because Duolingo expects you to play every single day, which annoys me. I wish they had a setting where like, couldn't you play 3 times a week, but like do a half an hour each time, or like, you should be able to tailor it to like your schedule.
I think they do have those settings, just because Duolingo has been really mad at me lately too. Because
yeah, it's like you have to. Get
I
in
was
there
like,
every day,
I
but
was
that's
like, I'm
impossible.
committed, I'm back, and then like I got all these notifications like, "Are you gonna play today?" And
Well,
I was
let
like,
me know.
"Okay, I
because
can't do
find that.
this."
No, it's crazy. And to expect, I have a friend who literally does it every day. I'm not kidding. She's hardcore.
No, I mean lots of people I know like have like, I mean they've like Eileen Rivera, co-host of Apple Vision Show with me, like has like she like did Duolingo for like 3,000 days in a row or something insane.
God.
Where I was like, what? And she's like, no, I'm very serious about this.
Yeah, I have.
You know,
friends
like
that are
I
really
even like
serious,
took
too.
like a trip one day, and like my stats got screwed up, and like I had to like get a hold of the company and make
Good
sure
for
that
her.
like, yeah, totally good for her. I don't know.
It's
I was
great.
good for a while, but
I'm pretty good. I'm really good with the French. I'm very far deep into the advanced zone, which is great, because for a while I was like, this is kind of too easy. But now I'm starting to kind of get to a point where it's really
It's
fun and
hard.
challenging.
Yeah.
It's not even hard. It's just more like, okay, I forgot that word. But I'm starting
yeah,
to do Italian.
makes you think about it.
Yeah, and more Spanish. I want to kind of brush up on some of those, but anyway, Also, I've been majorly procrastinating. I've really learned something about myself. And if I don't have like a deadline where I have like the pressure of a bill being due at a certain date, or like I've got a meeting coming up I have to prep for, when things are a little looser and I'm not as like busy, I tend to majorly procrastinate on stuff where I do not have a deadline in sight. I just put it off. And I've been trying to get this project kicked off with that writer I was telling you about on this family documentary. I'm sorry, it's not a documentary. It's on the family autobiography I'm turning into a movie. So I hired a screenwriter. She's a friend of mine. And I've got, I mean, we're doing this. This is happening. But I have to put together like a writer agreement, and then I have to get this thing copyrighted, and a lot of kind of like tedious legal docs that I just keep staring at blankly. And I'm like, and I stepped away, and I took a legal pad and I worked on some other silly little projects, like my little pros and cons list I sent you this morning about where I live and where I think I want to live, and all that. Let me know if you want to see it. But yeah, just procrastinating on these like little stupid things. But I definitely will get these 2 documents out this week. That is my goal. I have to like set goals for myself or I won't finish it. And
yeah.
Over the weekend, I got to
with you.
binge watch the latest season of Hacks, which I absolutely love that show. I'm so
It's a good show.
It's so funny. And I love Hannah. I don't remember her last name, but the actress who plays Ava, she's so good. And I mean, I seriously could watch her all day. And I didn't realize her mom is Lorraine Newman from SNL. But I thought, yeah, she had to have gotten these comedy chops from somewhere. But I also saw our buddy, Guy Branum. He's
Guy
in an episode.
Branum, it has some top billing.
He really does.
On
And he
some
wrote.
of- on
Yeah,
some
he
of-
wrote a lot of the episodes.
Yeah. Like the EP head writer.
Yep.
I mean, he's in the show, in the
He
first
is in the show.
season,
He's an
which I had
actor
forgotten
also.
about. But
Yep.
yes,
Yeah, he's an
Guy
old friend of
Branum
ours.
used to work with Heather and I.
a writer.
Extremely lovely, funny person.
Very, very much so. I knew he would go far. I really did. So if you're
Yeah.
listening, Guy, congrats, you've made it. And I love the show. You're very funny. I also watched Dune 2. I don't know if you've seen that yet, part 2.
No, I didn't even see
Holy
the part
moly.
one.
Oh, you didn't? See, I feel like you'd be into it because I keep thinking of Game of Thrones when I watch it because it's so vast. It is so intricate, and
I know.
it's
It's not like I
really
didn't like
good.
not watch it for any reason. I just
it's a little daunting.
when I feel like movies are going to be like a lot of action and not a
know.
lot of talking.
I know.
I just
The
tend to be
same.
like, I need to watch this in the morning on like a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because if I watch it like anytime after dinner on a weekday, I'm just going to fall asleep.
Well, it's also over
know?
2 hours, and it's a commitment. Like even last night,
It's a
we
commitment,
split it up
yeah.
into 2 nights. And this is partially why we haven't seen it yet, because we're both big Dune fans. But look, it's been on streaming for a while now, and we still haven't watched it. And part of it is, that commitment of like, okay, are we doing this? Are we going to do Dune tonight? I can't tell you how many times we've asked each other that, like after dinner. Are we going to do Dune tonight?
Babe,
let's not do it tonight. Let's skip it.
Dune or no?
Dune or
Yeah.
no? What do you think? Anyway, those are the haps from my world. What are the haps with you lately? Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Indeed. Real quick, I mentioned having weird dreams lately, and yeah, I mean, I'm not like worried about myself about the dreams, but I do have to go to the doctor on Friday, so I'll kind of just be like, hey, am I a crazy person that I apparently am living Inception every night? But sometimes when I wake up, like fully wake up out of a dream where I'm like, okay, now I'm really awake, right? Like pinch myself, like, okay, I'm awake. Phone is here, dog is here, Ralphie's here. Like we're in real life now. I have a hard time going back to sleep, which is the whole reason that, sleep eludes me. It's that mid sleep wake up where I'm like, heart is pounding kind of. And, all right, well, luckily I have a very comfortable bedroom. It's very quiet. My neighborhood is, during the day, I mean, it's not like crazy loud, but like, you have people walking by, a variety of traffic. I mean, there's sounds. But at night, it is like I could be in the jungle of wherever. And one of the weird things about that is besides like a helicopter going overhead, which does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
To remind you like, oh yeah, I'm in a city. It is like, it is so quiet. However, we have like so many birds and I don't even know where they are. Like in my backyard, like my bedroom and my bed, there are a couple windows that face the backyard, but like the backyard is basically just a driveway for me and my apartment mates to park in. There's not like, it's not like a tropical island. However, like at night, especially like not even talking about like 6 p.m. because at 6 p.m. one of my neighbors does have a rooster and that rooster will let you know at 6 p.m., which I don't even mind. I kind of like that because I grew up on farms. But no, this is like 2 a.m. and it's just like birds, so many different kinds of birds talking to each other where I'm like, it's not even one bird. It's like 10 birds. Like, what are they doing? And it's not even, it doesn't bother me. It's not keeping me awake. I'm awake, on my own volition. But it's like, it feels like I'm in the tropics.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's, LA is kind of just full of surprises like that.
It is. Well, I also think this is just, there's like so much more sun now. So the birds are just so happy. I actually have been putting these screens in certain windows in the house for the cats to watch the birds because there's certain trees that they hang out in. Oh, and they're in heaven. Absolute heaven. Every kind of bird you can imagine. Just, we have these hawks that fly, they fly on the wind and you can see them kind of bobbing. And they've been flying so close to the house where they swoop by my office window and it's like the shadow, goes across my office and it's like, whoa, it kind of gives me the chills. But I'm actually sort of in the market for, I did mention a bird feeder at the top of the show. Look, I'm really not that bird nerdy, but what I do really like is I like to look through my binoculars occasionally. I'm not a big bird watcher. I know some birds, but I don't get that geeked out about it. I'm not there yet, guys, but I do want a better pair of binoculars. Like the ones I have are pretty basic because I'm about, like I've said before, I've measured, but I don't know, 150 feet from the edge of the cliff of the ocean. And then so, the ocean's really close. And when you look out in the ocean, it's basically like the horizon and Japan somewhere over there. And then there's like, some stacks and there's a big rock actually called Bird Rock. It looks to me like a sleeping dog, like the shape of the rock. It's a pretty big rock. Like it never goes underwater when like the tide is high. It's a decent rock. And so I like to look through my binoculars from my office at that rock because you can, see there's birds that hang out on there, throughout different seasons. But, you get to a point where it's like, I need something a little stronger because I want to see further out. There's whales that kind of pop up here and there. And anyway, but I wanted to, switching gears a little bit from birds, I wanted to, unless there's something else you want to talk about, Sarah, I wanted to discuss these AI tidbits.
No, let's do it.
Okay. So yeah, a couple things. I know that AI is being incorporated into our daily lives as we speak, so it's no news, but there are a few items I wanted to discuss that kind of have affected me personally, I guess. And it's silly because really, taking over the world, which AI probably will, and potentially annihilating the human race. Those are the obvious reasons why, some of us are, a little timid about AI and really don't know are sort of, I guess, yeah, nervous about the future of AI. And that's the important part. But I'm noticing little things that are silly and not that detrimental, but that just kind of, it's just observations, I guess. And one of them is with AI models. And I've noticed on a bunch of sites that I frequent, just as sort of more of like I peruse, like it's more like a window shopping online. I mean, we all do it. I like to just scroll through and you see the pretty things and the clothes or whatever on these human models. There's several sites that I peruse regularly that have human models, modeling clothing. And I went to one the other day and they have completely swapped out all of their human models with AI models. And I
How do you know
absolutely,
this?
oh, I can totally tell. I mean,
You can just tell.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny.
Like what?
Immediately,
Like why? Like they just look too pretty or too
yeah, no, they
perfect or
I feel like I have a decent detector for AI faces and bodies. It does not feel real. It's like, yeah, they're too, they have that kind of generic face,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they just don't look like real people. It's a good question to ask. I should probably stare at it for longer to be able to describe what I'm seeing. But
I mean, I know what you mean. There are definitely I've had either myself or people send me like, an Instagram account or something, and they're like, "Is this AI?" And I'm like,
yeah,
maybe.
sometimes it's hard to tell. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be duped. I know it. But what I thought was interesting with this experience was I was like, oh hell no, I'm not coming back to this website, because a lot of times I'm
Right,
just
right.
perusing. It's like window shopping, and I don't want to see. To me, I don't want to see AI. Computer generated images of humans in clothing. That does not convince me to buy the clothing. So it's an
Right.
interesting thing too for sales. I wonder how it might be good for me, because I'll stop buying clothing if everything goes AI. I'll be like, ugh, I don't even want to look. So maybe it'll be a positive thing. But I was sort of like shocked to see it. And I thought, well, this is probably going to start happening everywhere. Not exactly the experience that I'm looking for when I'm online shopping, but there's a lot of other things happening that are interesting. Like Tribeca Film Festival is now doing an AI generated short films program. So it's with the company Sora, OpenAI's Sora, Sora, and they're calling it Sora Shorts. And it's one of the few, I don't know if it's the first, but it's one of the first film festivals to have a category that's films made from AI, which, it's interesting. It's going to be controversial for sure. And then the other thing that was interesting that happened on Sunday. So my boyfriend does some work for my business. And so he does this thing called the rounds, where he takes our work truck and he checks all of our properties, and he kind of, he just makes sure everything's copacetic. He, maybe picks up some, does some, yard work and whatnot, reports back. He kind of jumped down on unlevel ground at one of our properties, and he really screwed up his ankle. He didn't break it, but he got a really bad sprain. I mean, you should have seen it. It was black and blue on like both sides, really bad. He couldn't walk. And it's been like this for, I guess it's been about a week and a half. And so he went to urgent care finally on Sunday to get an x-ray, because we thought, got to do it. Got to just make sure it's okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he locked his keys in the truck, and it was just a whole doozy of a day. I had to pick him up ultimately, but he tried to get a locksmith, and he couldn't find anybody on Sunday because we live in the middle of nowhere. That's a whole other story for another time. Super frustrating. But when he tried to reach out to the nearest, locksmith or someone that could help him, he got on the phone with an operator that was like talking to him, but it turned out it was AI, but it kind of took him a while to figure it out. And just how confusing it was. And it didn't solve his problem. And it was just like so strange to be on the phone with AI and like not get your problem solved. And yeah, so we ended up having to wait a couple days to get someone to come out there and help us. But yeah, I want to know if you've had any strange experiences with AI just in your everyday life. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
That's a good question, honestly, because, and I don't really have an answer, because I talk about AI daily, whether I want to or not. I mean, it just permeates the news.
Yeah, totally.
And there is this, ongoing question of those of us who are like, okay, well, there's this, there's that, there's, certain things in the news, this company, and there's financial, take all of that sort of like corporate stuff out of it. Like, how is this helping you as a person?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are like, I don't know yet.
Yeah, there's little things here and there.
It might be super great. Like, your example of, looking at AI models wearing clothes where you're like, no, it's not a real person. Even if the real person was like your exact size and, measurements, still not you, but still feels more real to you and something that you want to end up investing in. People have a lot of problems with that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Because it changes your whole day to day. Like, I don't know, it's like this authenticity of your life, when everything is so homogenized and so, you've got this one face that's just like everything. It's just like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And yeah, it worries me. I mean, I think it definitely will shape us in strange and interesting ways, maybe some good, maybe some bad, but I mean, obviously this is not like a super detrimental thing. What I'm talking about, the AI model thing, there's way more concerns with AI than that. But I just thought it was sort of an interesting conversation to have. So yeah, I'd be sort of curious what, I don't know, what are y'all worried about? Or maybe you're not worried at all. Maybe you're a futurist and you're like, bring it on. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com.
Please do. Speaking of those who give us feedback, want to send a special thank you to our patrons. Patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is where you can find out more about how somebody becomes a patron. Basically, you support us directly. You get an ad-free version of the show, and we, Heather and I, always talk about like all the great perks that we're going to give you one day. But for the most part, we've got a Discord. We talk in the Discord. We want to engage with people who really, really do care about the show on a deeper level, and we do. So that's one of the things that you can do if you're a patron at the $5 per month or more level. It's all about what is best for you. We're doing the show for you. We are, we always say we're a proud and mighty, very small team.
Yes, team of two.
Team of two.
Yeah, and Sarah, I mean, the truth of the matter is there will be more perks the more we can grow our audience. If we can, double our audience.
Oh, we had so many lofty goals back in the day.
We really did. Really did. Oh my gosh, some of those old levels were
I was going to throw Heather into the ocean.
Yeah, in the middle of winter.
Like, no joke. Heather was like, I'll do it.
Well, I think we got one wild patron. We actually, one was having nachos with patrons in person.
Yeah.
That was one of them too. There were some good ones, fun, cheeky ones. But thank you so much for listening and being along with us. Part of it also is just being part of our little family. And we really appreciate you being here.
Indeedy.
And we got an email from Kevin. And this is in relation to last week we talked about some of the worst band names that just kind of make your skin crawl. And he said,
Heather, I mean, I still like when I think of Diarrhea Planet, like just like
you think of me,
like
great.
just offhandedly, you know, as I'm making eggs in the morning, I'm just like,
eggs and diarrhea.
But it's funny.
So he says, Heather, you'd absolutely hate the band names of the death metal and grindcore bands I listen to. Many are so bad they're funny. Kevin, yes, this is kind of what I was referring to last episode, where I went down that rabbit hole of looking for the worst names, and some of the ones that you're talking about were like on the top 20 death metal grindcore, and they were really dirty, so funny, like,
I mean,
over
they're
the top.
dirty by design.
Yes, exactly.
They're dirty by design.
Yeah.
Although, and I, you know, again, Discord is a safe space
Yes.
for those, you know, who are in our Discord and our patrons. But I will say one of the examples that somebody threw out was like Toad the Wet Sprocket.
I can't believe
and
I didn't
Heather
think
was
of that
like,
one.
Oh, I hate that band
I know. I
name."
can't believe I didn't think of that one. That is honestly
That
the
is a
one
good
that
one.
I forgot to talk about last week.
It's one of the worst.
One of the
and
worst.
What's funny is
What is a
one
wet
of the-
sprocket?
One of the and Toad
What?
and what is it's so long. What's happening? But the band, I mean, I won't pretend to know the band that well, but there are a few songs by Toad the Wet Sprocket that I like very much.
I'm sure.
I don't hate the band. In fact, they're sort of a gentle rock band. They're definitely not like, you know, grindcore.
They're not like
No,
Toady
not at all.
or Sprockety or anything.
No, they're neither of those things.
Well, apparently there's an association.
They're like I don't know, like alt radio rock.
Interesting. See, I don't even know what style they are, except for one of our Discorders did mention. His name is Ed. Ed has been around for a while, and I loved his comment because I had no idea that Toad, the Wet Sprocket, comes from like a Monty Python reference, which I really love Monty Python. So
Yeah.
thank you
I didn't
for
know that.
that little fun fact. So I think I appreciate Toad the Wet Sprocket a little bit more now. So thanks.
Walk on the ocean. You know that song,
Oh.
don't you, Heather?
Well,
That stone.
not really. I don't think
Flesh
so.
becomes bone.
I don't think you or
I'm
I
not
have
doing it
any
right, but-
business singing on the show. Well, I am worse than you are. But here's the thing. Someone did write in, I will say.
Excuse you.
I know.
I think
You're-
I'm quite a
You are
songbird.
definitely
to be
better
honest.
than me. But every time I try to sing, Elijah's like, just don't. It's kind of a joke because I just don't have a great like singing voice.
No,
but
neither.
I like to sing alone in my car. That's usually my preferred place to sing. But one of our patrons did write in and said how much he enjoyed Sarah singing Limp Bizkit on last week's episode, which I was worried. I was like, do people like that you sang, or was it like, did it make their skin crawl? I wasn't sure. So
I think it was probably like, you know, thank you for taking one for the team.
Yeah,
That's how
totally.
I take.
Yes.
That's how I take that. I will not be doing that on future episodes
Unless you have to.
You know, as far as far as the eye can see. Yes, unless I have to. But no, I'll sing. You know.
Yeah.
Heather and I. By the way, Heather and I haven't done it in a while. I mean, and by a while, I mean at least a decade.
Probably.
But we are pretty good karaoke.
we are pretty good. In fact, I have some video. I have some deep
God, I don't wanna see
archival
it.
video of Sarah and I think it was Sister Christian or some 80s track. Her and I just like,
Oh,
or
that's a
Totally
good
Clips of the
one.
Heart or one of those. And we are just like, everyone's watching us because we are like taking over the room. Yeah, we had some good times. In fact, I need to go karaokeing soon.
I love how like with karaoke you're like
I'm so passionate.
you can right because you're passionate and like what's anyone else gonna do?
Yeah.
So you walk away being like I fucking murdered.
I
that
rock.
song.
I am such a
and
rock
everyone's
star.
like I'm just.
I know, exactly. But here's the thing, like, I know my voice isn't great, but I have great stage presence. And so...
Oh, totally.
So
Yeah,
that's
no,
really
I mean,
what counts.
Enthusiasm is the heart of karaoke.
I agree.
You don't have to be like
I have that in
Mariah
spades,
Carey
Sarah.
up there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am bowling over with enthusiasm. That's one thing I don't lack. On that note.
No, it's true. On that note, yeah. So just a reminder, if you have thoughts on anything we talked about, please send us a note in Discord. If you'd like to send us an email, hi@havesuchagooddday.com is where to do that. And that is going to wrap up episode 241.
In the can.
242, Heather. I don't want to be weird about it,
Ooh.
but that is a palindrome. We haven't had one
It's
in
going
a
to be
while.
next week's going to be a good week.
I'm very excited
feel
about
it.
it. Yeah.
I am too, Sarah. Well, until then, I will remain Heather.
And I will remain Sarah forever.
Have such a good day, y'all. That's an order.
Bye.